but can you hear that? Now that's a really bad water pump. Welcome back to Living with a Classic and part 2 of getting this XJS V12 ready to be a reliable daily driver. In the previous part, completely stripped down the engine all the way down to the cam covers, and since then I've done some things. I've cleaned up around the cam covers so they're ready to put that on. I have put the gaskets on the cam cover, cleaned those up as well, and I've also actually drained the coolant system to prepare for the next thing. So I got this cover left to put on. Let me just get this into place. And then it's just time to snug down all these bolts. Once that is done, we are going to switch gears a little bit because we're going to do the water pump as well. So we're going to do that next. I wanted to get the cam covers on just because that way I don't have any big gaping holes into the engine. I just have the intakes off. I've got their stuff with rags, so that'll be fine. But then I can get to a lot of other things I want to get to without having the intakes and things in the way. That would just go a lot faster. But let me button this up and then we will pull the radiator. Pulling the radiator is really not too difficult. It's just this top panel, but then you need to get this off here, which is for the bleed lines up here, which basically makes sure that you've got no airlocks in the radiator. They can also be blocked, so when we take those out, we're going to blow them through, make sure nice and clean. I have drained the coolant, and I've done that with the drain tap. So early V12s had these. I think it was somewhere in the late 80s that they were removed. But it's a good thing if you have it. If you feel like it wants to move, turn it that way, 90 degrees, and it comes out of the bottom. Otherwise, you can just remove the bottom hose, but you get quite a bit of a mess. Because we're replacing all the hoses, I am going to cut the old ones, because that's just a faster way to get everything apart. So cut that one, cut the bottom hose, start removing things up here. I've already sprayed everything down with penetrating fluid. I did remove the AC compressor before. There was no gas in it whatsoever. So that's going to be a future troubleshooting thing, seeing what's wrong with the AC, or if it's just sitting for 20 years and that everything will leak out. So we'll take this apart as well, the receiver dryer and everything. We're going to see if the condenser is going to come out or not. I haven't decided exactly how we're going to do everything yet. But I'll cue the music, set up the camera like last time, and get to work. Got some issues here. As you can see, when I'm turning that, this whole pipe is turning, and we don't want to have a new condenser. So let's just try and heat this up a little bit. See if it can be saved, because in either case we have to get the dryer off because the system has been empty for so long. This thing is ruined, and we're gonna have to put a new one on anyways if we get the system going. Needs to come off. Gonna be a little bit careful with the heat on there, not too much. But we'll take some more spray on there, and we'll give that a little bit and see if it loosens up. Let's see if it makes a difference. It's still really, really hot. Yes. I think this is turning without the pipe turning now. Yes. We're going to continue with a little bit more spray on there. And as you can see, it's still really hot. We should be able to get this off. Yeah, that's hot. All right, let's continue getting the radiator out. And there we go, top of the radiator exposed. Now we can see what's going on. So you have the AC condenser here in the front, which is pretty much disconnected everywhere, so I can lift that out. The radiator is still held in place by the hoses, and then we have the fan shroud here. Another reason we're doing this is it's very common for debris to get collected between the condenser and the radiator, and this is sort of the way to get it out. The foam you're seeing here is a good thing. Well, yes and no. I've seen on some cars where it feels like it's just held in moisture and then it rots here. So if your car just sits a lot outside, never gets driven, then yeah. But even if it sits outside and gets driven regularly, the radiator gets so hot that you're not going to have any issues with that. But it does make sure that all the air goes through the radiator and not to the sides of it. So if you have that, it's really good. If you don't, add some new foam when you put it all back together. But I'm going to get the fan, pretty straightforward, and then we're just going to try and lift this whole thing out. It is rather heavy. Fan shroud should be completely loose now, and I loosened the fan off before. We're going to replace it. It's the yellow one. They can start cracking. This one has a crack right there all the way through. So I have a new one. We're going to replace that. And this shroud should lift out. There we go. I just cut the lower radiator hose here, and I've disconnected the one that's the return from the heater. It goes down here. I have also disconnected the transmission cooler lines and blocked those off. I'm going to need to replace those lines as well. Rubber part at least. And that is one V12 radiator removed. And this is what is usually hiding a V12. See the bottom of the radiator? That is just dirt and debris. Comes in, it's particularly bad on the XJS. On the XJ12s, I usually don't see this much. It also depends, where you live, how you've driven, etc. You can clean some of it by just removing like the AC system like we saw, but the bottom part here is covered by the old cooler, which is still in the car, and that is where all the dirt collects. So it's not a bad idea to take the radiator out at some point. Or if it's really blocked, you can send it off and get it flushed and record and all of that. We're just going to flush this one and put it back because it was running fine. It actually wasn't getting that warm, but this is a good thing to clean up. In here, now we have a lot of room for activities. Clean up this area down here. And I'm going to recommend a little bit of rust proofing down here because it will be a daily driver. And there is the offending item, the leaking water pump. You can even see it from up here. Excellent time to do all the belts and all the hoses and everything. So all the other jobs are going to just be a lot quicker as well with this removed. So even though, yes, it's a pain to remove, it's worth it. And you get really good access to everything else on the engine. I'm going to start spraying down all the bolts I need to remove with some penetrating fluid. Let that sit. And I'm going to come out a little bit later and remove the water pump. Now that we're removing the water pump, we need to take the belts off. I already have the one for the AC off. So we have the alternate belt in here, and this is for the fan, and this is for the water pump and power steering. Because I'm replacing all the belts, of course, I can just cut them off. That's the fastest way to get them off. And now we have this one. Let's see if we can get it down here. There we go. Can leave the alternator belt on for now. Get that one a little bit later. Then when it's time to put the belts back on, I can time to take all these off and lubricate them and make sure that they move nicely, because there's nothing more annoying than these not moving as they should. So it's just a bunch of 1/2-inch bolts, should be. Some of them you can't get to with a ratchet, but some you can. Like the top one here. Cracked off nicely. That one as well. Can just get one on there. And maybe I can get one on there too. I thought there were some that you need. There's some other tools to get off. Let's see, we're gonna have to get this crossover pipe off anyways to do these hoses later, so I might as well do that one right now. I sprayed down all those hose clamps as well. I'm going to give the crossover pipe just a lick of paint when it's off. That way we can check it for any pinhole leaks as well. Got all the clamps off now, so I should be able to get this thing off. I think we're going to cut the hoses a little bit. When you cut them, don't cut them like this, but cut them like that so you shave off a bit of the hose. That way you're not leaving a mark that could cause a leak in the future. Let's see. That side is off. And we can make a little bit of a slice here as well. Oh, come on. There we go. One crossover pipe that I can have a look at later. Make sure it's in good condition so we can put it back. Paint it also. Now, put the knife away and we can continue with the water pump bolts. Should have a couple more underneath here. Now I know why I remember that I can't use a socket everywhere. It's here. The water pump is really wide. It goes all the way to here. So you do need to remove this one as well. For the whole hub assembly for the fan. And that is a little bit of a tighter squeeze. But we're very close now. And as you see, it's already loose here, and we've already made quite a mess on the ground because I forgot the drip tray. So kid alert to the rescue. With that hub removed, the last bolt is underneath here, and then the whole thing should come out. And there we have it. One V12 water pump. Pretty massive thing, but you know, it has to take from both sides of the engine. But can you hear that? Now that's a really bad water pump. Good thing we're replacing it. So interesting line here. I'm guessing it wasn't completely full of coolant, so it was up till here about. But it's not looking too bad in here, actually. In for a closer look, but yeah, not looking too bad. I'm going to flush under here. I have this big tray I'm going to put under the engine, and I should have already done that. But I'll clean up the floor, put that big tray under there. Can flush out this, which is a hose I can get in here, and then just scrape off all this dirt. Clean up the front of the engine as best as I can. I'm going to replace that plug there because that is a source of leaks. And yeah, of course, replace all the belts and everything. Put a new water pump on. The only other thing from the coolant system I want to remove is these. I'm not going to do it right now. We'll do it when we put everything back. These water rails here, because there's little kind of like O-rings or gaskets in here. They have a tendency to start leaking with age. So we're going to replace all of those now as well. And we're going to place the gaskets under here so that everything in the coolant system is pretty much brand new. But that's going to be it for this episode, because we're taking a little bit of break from this series. We're still working on this car. However, you may have noticed just how much space is in the engine bay now with all this removed. Because I'm making this thing from right hand to left hand drive, I haven't done this before, so it will be a really, really fun task. I mean, I've had interiors apart and this, and I took the parts car apart where I got all the things I needed from a left hand drive car, but I haven't converted. So that will be interesting, and I will need all the extra space for brake lines and everything. So the next video you'll see on this car, we're going to start by removing everything in the car, removing the dash and everything, the whole interior. We're going to remove the brake assembly and all of that, steering and everything, and move it over or use new parts that I have and put it on the other side. But that will be the next video on this car. Once that is all done, we will continue this series, get the engine built up again, and then once that's up and running, we have some brakes to go through, and this thing should be ready to go for its first inspection in over 20 years. Anyways, if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Till next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.